Well, thank you for coming on my show, Victor.
Thank you, Ryoichi. Thanks for having me.
And can you tell a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So, my name is Victor Mambu, and I am an actor slash producer slash martial artist. I've been acting on and off for about 8 years, and yeah, and I love doing it.
Oh, awesome. And what attracted you to begin your acting career?
It's always been a dream of mine to act. As an immigrant, in the 80s, I was 3 years old, and my mother and father would work, a couple jobs. And so my older brother and I would be stuck, watching TV shows and films as well. And, to me, the 80s was like another golden era of not just films, but television, but also music. And, you know, being being an immigrant, um, in America and seeing all that, my brother and I were looking at each other like, we want to do this one day. And, it's been a childhood dream of mine, to be in films and to work as an actor and, in some kind of capacity of this industry.
That's an amazing story. And where are you originally from?
So I was born in the beautiful archipelago of Indonesia. I was born in the capital city of Jakarta. My parents are actually from a different island, however. I've never lived there per se. I lived my first 2 years in Jakarta, which is the capital city. And yeah, moved here to California, Southern California, in 1984, again, when I was 2.5 years old. I just dated myself. So, but yeah, it's been a journey, but this is my home, and proud of being here.
California is beautiful.
It is, yeah, very,
It
very.
really is. Out of okay, do you have any upcoming roles?
Yeah, as a producer and as an actor, I'm kind of occupied from both heads, so to speak. Producing a couple things, um, on that side, and as well as acting. I know things are a little bit hectic now. However, there's some roles that are coming up. I've been blessed to get some of these roles, especially this month. Um, and yeah, I mean, I can't really talk about it, but there are various roles, from playing cop to period piece, and some stunt coordinating as well too. So it's pretty interesting. It's a variety of things, and
Mhm.
I get to wear multiple hats in this industry. So it's amazing, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
That's awesome. And now, like I said, you're a producer. Now, what attracted you to pursue as a producer?
Just the ability to make your own product. Um, it allows you to tap into your creative juices, as kind of forming it from scratch, and then seeing the whole project come into fruition, seeing your vision come into fruition. That's always attracted me. Telling your own story. I think us as actors, us as filmmakers, directors, what
Mhm.
have you. We're storytellers, and I'll tell you, not many people can do it. Not many people have that knack to do so. And it is difficult, as you know, but it's so precious to be able to create something, especially in the industry that you love so much. And that's what attracted me to producing, because it's just that, be able to tap into your creative juices and be able to put your vision on the screen is it's like no other.
That's amazing. That's true. You want to, make your own product, make your own film,
Yeah,
and have your ideas out there. That's
absolutely.
that's 100% true. Now, what's your greatest strength as an actor so far?
Whew, okay. This is almost like a job interview. It's like, well, how much do you want to get paid, right? It's one of those questions. And I hate always answer the question, but for me, being able to tap into the to your experiences. So meaning,
Hmm.
I come from the school of method acting, and being the age I'm at, being my age, having experienced an array of things, having gone through different things, you tap into those emotions that certain events or certain occurrence um, calls for, right? And for me, being able to find that emotion per character, or per scene, or what have you, I think that's my greatest strength, is really put that passion,
Hmm.
be able to communicate with your eyes, right? That's the I think that's my strength, is be able to tell a story, tell your story, tell that character story through your eyes. Again, it's all the eyes, right? As they say in
Right.
acting,
The eye
and
contact.
the eye contact, and the communication, conveying that message, conveying that character through your eyes, and I think that's my greatest strength.
That's good. And I always ask all my actors that question. Every single one of them give a
Yeah,
different answer, but that's good because each person that gives an answer, they always have a different story, and
right,
it's touchy because each one of those are meaningful, and they
right,
almost have the same answer, similar answer. I mean, and that's
right.
amazing. That's what I like. Now, what acting role have you found the most challenging, and why?
Ooh, um, who I've never really been. I want to say I've never been really been a comedy guy, um, but I would consider myself a versatile actor, but I think comedy would be, because I haven't really practiced as much. When you don't really practice something as much, you're a little bit rusty, or you need to hone those skills. I think I that would be one of the most challenging. Although I consider myself a funny guy, I like to tell jokes, with my friends, and people around me, what have you. But it's different. It's different when the camera's on you, and you're having to play a certain character. You have to sort of obviously analyze the character, and see how your
Mhm.
humor can fit into that. So I think comedy would be the most challenging. I've done a few, and it's always been fun, but it's always like, okay, I could have done better than that. But I think it just takes more practice and more reps.
Right. And so do you like doing comedy role or not really?
I do. No, I do. I love to be funny. Who doesn't like a good laugh? I love a good laugh. I love telling jokes, and I just want to do a little bit more of them,
Mhm.
as opposed to again, it's I don't want to be like typecast into how I look and what have you. So I want to be able to do as many things as possible and show my versatility. But I'd love to do more comedy, if the chance presents itself.
And that's good because comedy makes people laugh and it makes them happy,
Absolutely.
it makes them in a good mood, and that's 100% true.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um,
In a world like this, we all need comedy. We all need a good laugh. So
yeah, it makes people in a good mood.
yeah, 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Um, for yourself, how do you approach and to be into the character?
Um, Again, I if I what when I analyze the character, I try to go to my registry and see how can my personal experiences, in my box, how can I how can I take whatever I have and put that in a character that relates to
Hmm. Hmm.
the emotions that the character is going through. So that's why I try to make things familiar, try to make things relatable. That way I can put that emotion, or put that instance into that character.
Hmm.
Try to do something that you're familiar with, right? Instead of like, okay, I wonder what would it be like if I lost somebody, or if I went through a breakup, or I caught somebody, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, where
Hmm.
certain things that I've never gone through. It's like, well, I wonder how a person would react.
Right,
I
right.
Yeah, I try to find something relative in my experience, and then try to plug and play into those characters.
And one thing I noticed is like, like myself and you and all the actors out there, we're telling people a story.
Right.
and that's meaningful because
Right.
we're and if we don't tell people stories, then who will know their story, right?
Absolutely. 100%.
100%.
Absolutely.
Now, what is your short-term goal
Mhm.
and your long-term goal?
Woo. Okay. Short-term goal. Um, to work as much as I can in this industry. I work as a lot of actors. Um, People don't know that's not in the industry. In the industry, a lot of actors have part-time jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have another, whether it's Ubering, whether it's waiting tables, whether it's I have a lot of friends that are property managers, right? Very flexible schedule. I am a I don't think I mentioned it before, but I am a history teacher. I'm a history and English teacher, and uh, I've been working as a teacher for the last 5 years. It wasn't until recently that I'm kind of going full fledged in this. But given the circumstances, what's going on right now, I might have to go back to part time teaching. But
Mm-hmm.
the short term goal is to work as much as I can, get exposure as much as I can, connect obviously as much as I can. And the long term goal is pretty much an extension of the short term goal. Work in this industry that's been a passion of mine and a dream of mine since I was a little kid. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, that 2, 3, 4 year old kid in the '80s watching TV and films. You know what I mean? So it's almost very similar, but just to be able to work as much as I can, get my make my mark in this industry in any capacity that I'm capable of. Whether it's producing, whether it's fight choreography, whether it has to do with martial arts or stunt coordinating, and acting, in all genres. That's both the short and long term goals.
That's amazing. That's a wonderful short and long term. Now, since you're a
Right.
teacher, you said history. Do you see yourself potential producing a school theme TV show or a movie? I just have to ask.
um, I would like to, right? Because I mean, it would be a seamless transition, right? I mean, I would be able to segue no with no problems. I would, I mean, if there is a story that I come up with or somebody comes up with that requires a teacher or what have you, I would love to do that because again, I've been in this industry for, I mean, the educational field for 5 years. So I know the ins and outs and I know what happens
Hmm.
and to
So
be
would
able
you,
to,
pardon
yeah,
me, would you consider it kind of like making it? Just saying it, kind of like the
uh-huh.
TV show Glee, musical Glee.
Yeah, I mean, Glee is very successful. I'm not versed in musicals. I'm not a really good singer, so it would have to be more on the other route. But I would love to do something that, maybe I would love to play something that I mean, I would like to play a teacher or there's a lot of
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
school-led TV shows in the past, like Head of the Class, Saved by the Bell.
Right.
You said Glee as well, so it would be interesting, and I I,
Mm-hmm.
I want to rule that out. Yeah.
And the one thing I noticed when we make, you know, when directors and producers make TV shows like Glee
Mhm.
or, all the other shows that you mentioned, it's powerful because we don't realize it that we are also impacting kids in real life in their schools,
Right.
going down the
Right.
hallways, dealing with this, and doing that and doing that. And that's why, in my opinion, it's amazing when we make TV shows and films, especially TV shows about schools. And
Right.
that's just me because you're inspiring them to, it's showing the world this is what real life school is in America
Yeah.
or in the
Yeah.
country, right?
Yeah.
So I just had to ask
Yeah.
you because you were a teacher. So
Yeah.
the I I think you'll do really good with making one.
Yeah. It's a piggyback on that point, actually. You're right. It's you said school in America. I've noticed in talking to different people that's gone to school in different countries, school in America, both academically and socially, it's different.
Hmm.
When they talk about how things are in school as far as the social realm as well as the academic realm, it's different. And I think it's really difficult to go to be to be a student here in America, because of those pressures,
Right.
both academically and social. And we have certain things like school shootings and the depression and so much pressure, especially with social media and what have you. So it's a little bit different, uh, going to school, being a student here in America as opposed to different countries.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's 100%.
Yeah.
Now, what do you believe is the most challenging aspect of being an actor?
I believe, and I'm not only speaking for myself, but I believe it's the sticking with it. Okay, because dreaming about this industry, dreaming, making it big, getting into the industry, it's it's peaches and cream, right? Everyone loves it. Everyone, I'm going to be the next star, this and that. I'm going to have fun doing this, but it's a grind. It's difficult. It's not an easy industry to get into. It's very competitive. Um, it's it's uncertain. There's a lot of uncertainty. Um, but when you make it, it's sweet. And again, it depends on your definition of making it, right? Some
Right.
people some people scale it. I got to be an A-list actor. Some people scale it as if I can just work independent films or whatever, or small little roles, or the background roles, the rest of my life. That's for them. That's enough. That's sufficient for them. So it really depends on what your definition of being successful in this industry is, right? And sticking with it, because there are a lot of cases where the pressure to do well or to make it gets to that individual, and they tend to give up,
Hmm.
and many give up because I'm trying so hard, I'm not getting roles, I'm going to many auditions, it's just not working for me. But sticking with it is very difficult because, one, this is not a job that's going to be secure, so to speak. It's not going to give you it's not going to guarantee you a paycheck, a consistent paycheck every week to pay your
Hmm.
bills. So in essence, your sacrifice, you have to make a lot of sacrifices. You're sacrificing for what? To live your dream, right? So the most difficult aspect of this industry of being an actor is really sticking with it, because as easy as that sounds, but it's also as easy to tap out and be like, it's not working for me.
Right. And that's one thing I agree with you because, when you're in this, you have to be focused, focus, right? Keep
Right, it's a grind.
it
It's
is
definitely a grind.
100%,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You can be in the music industry or something. It is a grind,
Correct.
100%.
Right.
Totally, I totally understand that. And one thing I would say that the reason I say it's a grind is like we can't, it's a passion, but you have to keep that passion. You gotta
Right.
keep pushing yourself. And also I would say you have to ignore the negative comments
Yeah.
because and that's the thing. You gotta push yourself. But also one thing I love about the entertainment industry is that we're a family and we
Yeah.
support we support each other. So I tell people
Right.
that family is number one. But what people ask me, what do you mean by family? And I said, well, your real family, yes,
Right.
but maybe make that number two, because some people, and it's the truth, some people don't have their real family supporting them doing
100%.
this. And
Right.
that's why I tell people, well, your background family is the people in the entertainment industry. It doesn't
Right.
matter what state you live in. We all support each other in this entertainment industry, right?
Right.
So
Right.
that's what I say. That's your number one
Yeah.
family. And number two
Right.
is your real family. So
right,
that's how I view it.
right. I want to piggyback on what you said on 2 points. You have to block all the negativity. That is 100% correct
Hmm.
because whether it's within the industry or outside of the industry, and it could be sometimes family or the people that you surround yourself with, right, or your community. Um, this this industry, this job, this profession, this goal that you're seeking is not common. You will get criticized. I've been criticized. I've been criticized within not my family, but within my community um, for going this route. It's like why are you doing this? It's not
Because
secure.
it's because
You're not.
it's our passion.
Well, that's the thing too. People don't understand that when you're not in this industry, you don't understand the dream that you had, as a kid. They don't understand that it is difficult. They don't understand that you are a storyteller above anything else. They don't understand that security, is not, you know, for me. I hate to I hate to quote. This is an old saying, but like YOLO, right? You only live once. Well, it's true. You only live once. What am I supposed to do? Do in the next lifetime? There's no guarantee, right? So you give it all at once. You know what I mean? You give this all at once, and you know, uh, I believe in God. I pray every day that this is the right way for me to go,
Hmm.
and if it is, then who else is gonna,
Right.
who else can, what else can anybody say? You know what I mean? So, and also your family. You're right. You have to, in this cutthroat industry, you have to find a what I call film family, or you got to find friends that are going to really have your back, and that's hard to say because in this industry that's very competitive. Okay, yes, there are roles that there. Some people see it as there's not enough roles. In a sense, that's true, but also there's plenty of roles, right? But I go back to what I said before about what are your goals? What are your personal goals for this industry? Well, if you really want to be famous, and that's all you want to be, then what if that person, your friend, gets there before you? You start getting jealous. You start questioning things, or
Right.
and you start getting upset, and all these emotions, negative emotions come, and it creates tension. That's why for me, this industry, you have to find good people. You know what I mean? You have to find people that are truly going to support you, and that's harder said than done, because again, there are millions of people that want to be in this industry. There are millions of people that
Hmm.
want to be successful, and if any ounce of success, or even any ounce of um, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Any ounce of um, uh, ambition, okay, sometimes people don't like that because it's threatening to them, and
Right.
and I can't speak for everyone, but I've experienced that, and it's very important to, like you said, to weed out all the negativity, and also find a family, find support, because
Hmm.
again, you're gonna need it. This is this
100%.
is yeah, this is a very emotional, taxing industry, and you got to be headstrong for it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, we are family, but we are
Right.
100%. You're right. It doesn't matter because also as a talk show host like me, it is I understand, I experienced it, and I
Right.
totally understand, it's a cutthroat industry, but
Right.
um, you know, we all love what we're doing. That's why we're still
Exactly.
going.
That's what we're doing.
Um,
Exactly.
now, do you prefer acting in front of the camera or on a theater stage?
That's a very good question. Usually the ones that transition from theater acting, with a theater background, to a stage, it's so, seamless transition, right? And I've just only done screen acting. I've taken, gosh, maybe a couple of drama classes before, in high school and in college. But I would love to do theater one day. I honestly would. But for now, screen acting, acting in front of the screen is in front of me. It's no pun intended, But it's right now it's what I'm focused on. But I'm not ruling out at all theater. Going to the theater.
Okay, I usually ask every my actors that
Yeah.
questions. What role, if any, deeply affected you, perhaps changed you in a permanent manner?
Um, I think every role is important that I've had, I guess, in my experience, from anywhere from playing a police officer to a psychiatrist to any period piece roles. I think they it's always going to change you. And again, I'm saying in a personal matter because every single time I'm on set, every single time I get to play someone I'm
Hmm.
not. Um, it gives me these emotions. It excites me, and I learn from it. I learn my capabilities. I learn about the role. I learn what a cop goes through. Not in depth, obviously, but just for that particular scene, maybe in snippets. But you know, every role that I play is always going to be significant because again, you get to discover yourself within those roles. And maybe it sounds cliche, but I think yeah, it really does help you, and it really hones your skills, right? In acting with every single role, whatever it is.
You say it sounds cliche, but it doesn't to me. It's
Yeah.
um, what's your favorite memory so far on set?
Oh man. You know what? It's only probably happened a few times, but whenever I'm on set, when the cast and the crew are just really great to work with, it I never forget it. It deeply resonates with me because you know there's been times where you're on set and you're like, whew, man, I wish I didn't sign on to this, right? Or what's wrong with them, or what I mean. And again, it's fast paced. There's going to be a multitude of different personalities that you can't you're only going to find out once you get on set. So to me, whenever my best memories are when everything is firing all cylinders. And I mean, like, everything is not perfect, but next to perfect, as far as the cast just being so awesome, so supportive, and as well as the crew just being so easy to
Hmm.
work with and get along. That's always going to be a good memory for me. And it happened a few times, actually.
That's amazing. That's an awesome story because you become a family.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
true. Do you have any funny or interesting stories behind scenes so far?
I don't know if I should, but I mean, like, I guess not none that I can say on this podcast. Nothing suitable for the audiences, but I've had some funny occurrences, or I've met some funny people, um, way too funny actually. Most recently, I was privileged to do a feature film in Las Vegas.
Hmm.
We shot during the pandemic. Go figure. It was a 2 year process. No, excuse me. Yeah, 2 year process. I'm sorry, a year and a half process. Because just finding fun with funding and people's schedules and what have you, and of course the pandemic. We had to postpone a lot of the shoots, and we had to kind of stretch the days out. But I met some interesting characters that some of the stories that they told me, I can't say on your podcast.
No, I totally understand.
Yeah. So, but it was it's great because it lightens the mood up, right? These long days we've had, like 14 some 12, 14-hour days, and on those days you're gonna need some comedic relief, and certain people provided that on that set. So I can't mention their names. I can't mention what was being said or discussed, but
No, I totally
it's
understand.
yeah.
Um, do you have any hidden talents that nobody knows about? Not even your own family or friends?
Um, I'm really good at trivia. It's funny.
Hmm.
I've done a couple of game shows, three to be exact, and every single one I've won. So it's cool. It's fun and cool because you get to compare what you know with the other people, and being able to win on these game shows. Like, okay, you know what, you know some stuff, but as far as hidden talents, like I said, I do. Not that no one really doesn't. I mean, not that no one knows about it, but like I said before, I do martial arts. I don't know if it's one thing that if you look at me, you're like, oh, that guy doesn't do martial arts. I mean, when I say it, people are like, oh yeah, I can see it, but I do a variety of martial arts.
Hmm.
I come from the school of Bruce Lee philosophy, and I do multiple martial arts, and really, I think one, it's fun. Two, it's important as far as the self-defense aspect, and you get to explore different martial arts and see what works for you personally, and you get to also translate it on film. So and that's one of the pluses that having trained martial arts since I was a child, and especially specific ones that not many people kind of do, at least not the majority, but you see that prevalent in films today.
Martial arts is amazing. I used to do martial arts, so
Yeah,
and it's your right, self-defense and all that stuff. So,
right.
my one of my last question is many more to go, but time for you. But what is your advice for someone who wants to break into acting or become a film producer or director?
My advice, and I think we've kind of touched upon it this whole episode, but my advice is live your dream. Because if you, in my experience, if you have that dream, if you have that knack to want to get into film, whether it's being an actress,
Hmm.
being an actor, actress, filmmaker, director, producer, what have you, another crew, do it, because when you have that, it's never going to leave you. Okay. If you're a true artist, you're going to do it. Okay. I've taught for the last 5 years. I've worked other jobs prior, and every single time I transition to different jobs, or I go to school, whether it's pursue my master's or undergrad, and my further my graduate degrees. I'm always thinking, like, what, I'm gonna do this so I can get something secure, right? But I'm always running back to the industry. I'm always running back to the industry. The industry is not going to leave me, and it won't leave you. So if you want to do it, go for it, because and it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, right? There's going to be people
Hmm.
that's going to criticize you. There's going to be people that are going to say no. Perhaps your family or close friends or your community, but stick with it, because the I always say the hardest step is always going to be the first step, right? Whether that's getting your headshots, whether that's doing a student film, whether that's building a reel, whatever you consider that first step to go in, going in an agency or what have you. That's always the hardest step, because once you do that, you're already sort of in, if that makes sense.
Right.
You're taking the step forward, because very easily you could sit in your room, or you could sit in class, or while you're eating, and be like, man, I want to do this one day, but I don't know if I can do it, right? But once you start doing it, taking that first step, whether it's again taking headshots or whatever, that's always gonna be the hardest step, because then when you do that, you're taking the necessary steps to live your dream,
Hmm.
and then it just in a sense, it's addicting. It's like, okay, now what's the next step?
Right.
But
100%.
that's always the hard step, because you're transitioning from wherever you're doing to this, which is again not not there's no security in this. Let's face it, for the majority of the act, there's no security in this. So be able to sacrifice whatever you have, or sacrifice your future, right? going into this industry is it's a big step. It is a big step.
100%. Have passion. Keep what you're doing. Anybody
Right.
can do this. And you love what you're doing. That's
100%,
yeah.
100%. And again, once you love what you're doing, if you're doing it for the passion for the art, okay, and you don't think about anything else, okay, in your heart you're gonna feel like, okay, yeah, I'm doing the right thing, and you don't have to
Hmm.
question. You don't have to question the naysayers. You don't have to question negativity. You don't have to question yourself. Once you're like, okay, I'm doing this because I love the art. I'm doing this for the craft. I'm a storyteller by heart. That's who I am, and I'm going to tell my story. And there is no looking back
Right.
when you 100% go for it.
100%. That's so inspiring.
Yeah,
Well, Mr. Victor, I would love to have you on longer, but I know you said do not have much time. It's okay.
yeah.
But, I do appreciate you coming on my show, and you're always welcome back on my show,
Thank
and
you.
love to have you back. And thank you again for you to come on and tell my audience more about you, and your followers, your fan base, and your supporters, to tell them and know more about you, and also to have people out there who wants to get into the entertainment industry,
Right,
that you can still do it.
right.
But I will leave it with this, is that
Okay.
you don't have to go to school to be an actor or a film director or a producer. And a lot of people are in shock. Like they don't understand when you say that. And it's like, well, it's simple. You can easily make a YouTube video with your friends. And that's how you can start acting,
Right,
practice, and
right,
that's how you
right,
audition. But your one thing I'll big time agree is headshots, have it
right,
social media, and then start making friends in the entertainment industry, in the and in your own state. Look in your own state. That's the big thing.
right,
Look for auditions in your own state, independent, or so on. But look at your own state. That's where you can expand your horizon. you
exactly.
can you can be living in California, New York, or Texas, or Washington, or Chicago, or Nevada, or Arizona, New Mexico. You
Yeah,
can look at your own state and go from there, because that's where you can,
right,
and that's why I'm noticing, and I'm so happy that a lot of people and it's actually spreading. A lot of people in their own state, the film industry is growing. But
right,
again, that gives us hope to other people out there, that it's growing in your state because it's giving you a potential to grow, and you can go from there, wherever you want to go from. And
right,
that's what I love about the entertainment industry. You make
right,
friends, and then you start making friends from other state. And that comes back to what we were talking about earlier, is about support.
right,
You have the entertainment support, and you be so shocked at the powerful messages and support that you get from the entertainment industry, from director to producer to and other fellow actors and actresses, messaging you, or calling you, texting you, encouraging you. And what's so powerful, it's like you may audition for a role that you don't get it, and then somehow, for example, your friend messes auditions, or you auditions for this, for example, your friends have this person may not be your friend, but you're auditioning for a role, but the director said, I know I'm sorry you didn't get it, but you're become friend with the director, and somehow you may not know it as an actor
mhm,
or an actress. That director may get contacted by somebody else and say, hey, I'm looking for this type of person, or I'm looking for, somebody. And in the director that you auditioned for is like, hey, contact this person. This person doesn't live in the state that you're looking for, but they could be willing to travel. Contact them, and
Right.
that's powerful because it's the word of mouth. You get the call,
Right.
and you're like, come audition. You can do it on Zoom, and you get it. You may get it, you may
Right.
not, but you go there, and you're like, wow,
Right.
and it gives you chills, gives you hairs to stick up because it's like, okay, you know. But yeah, you know, one thing also I believe that you mentioned real quick is that you have to get used to that auditions and auditions and auditions and auditions. Yes, there's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of auditions out there, and
Right.
you know, you get up and downs. You get yes, you may get 10 yes, and you may get 10 auditions, and 10 of them you get them right, or you may
Right.
do 90 auditions and you only get 15 right, and it doesn't mean don't feel bad. It just keep auditioning. But the one thing I noticed is like they won't forget about you. They're going to spread words about you. It's like, hey, you're not, yes, we want you to row, but not right now. But what's so interesting is they may contact you later on and say, hey,
Right.
we want you in this film. So everything you mentioned is 100% fact. You know, we are as a family, and as a
Right.
family is a family. You know, and
Right.
it's um, you know, it's like we. And one thing I will say this real quick is that um, when we're family, we're on set for 2 or 3 months, right? Or maybe 5 weeks. You leave the set and you're like, you go home and you're like, wait a minute, where's my family? Anyways, where's my family? And then you're like, the family was my set, my director, my producer, my actors, and my actresses. And now they're not here. You know,
Yeah.
and then you get your phone, you get your trade phone numbers. You're like, hey, I know you're in New York, I'm in Chicago, and they're in Texas, but let's all fly, let's all meet together. Or and it's powerful because that's what I call family.
Right.
That's what I call family.
Right.
So
Yeah.
100%
And it's
I agree with
important.
you.
Yeah. It's very important to have that family because again, it's you have to have tough skin for this industry, right? You're gonna go on auditions. You're gonna get a lot of no's no matter what,
Mhm.
and you shouldn't take it personally because people see things differently, right? People,
Right.
when a casting director comes on set, they know what they're looking for, and it may not be you. And it's not like you didn't do well in the audition, but it's just that they're looking for somebody else, and you shouldn't take that to heart. But
Right.
I do want to piggyback quickly on the film school thing. I'm not downplaying film school, but yes, you're right. You can learn as a trade. You can volunteer. You can be an apprentice to a director or
Hmm.
a grip or camera director photography. But the one thing too is we live in a ever so advancing technological era that communication, be able to connect, is global. It's through the internet, the power of the internet. Look at the Zoom right now we're doing, and I think we that was proved that was proven. Excuse me, that was proven during the pandemic, where you could do these eco casting, you could do these video auditions,
Yeah.
you could communicate through through the other side of the world through Zoom
Yeah,
and
understand the
have all
world.
these connections. Yeah, and
Yeah.
again, look, like you said, you can film on an iPhone. You can get yourself out there. You don't necessarily need to be in Hollywood anymore, right? To be able to get your movie or talent out there. There's so many streaming services, so many platforms that you can get your story told. So
100%.
just live the dream,
Yes.
focus, and go all at
Hmm.
it, and never look back.
Thank you. Well, thank you again. I totally agree with you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Victor, for coming on my show.
I
I
appreciate it.
look forward for having you back. Please, let's stay
Yes,
contacted and let's stay in touch, and I'd love to have you back.
absolutely. I would love to be back, and hopefully with more time and more positive news, and I can update you on whatever I was working on. And yeah, I would love to be back. It'd be my honor.
Well, thank you again, and I'll talk to you soon, Mr. Victor.
Appreciate it. Thank
All
you.
right,
Thanks for
have a
having
good
me.
one. Bye.
Appreciate it. You too.